Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And I would put money on this. Seriously, I'd put money on this. It's a done thing. In weeks to come, you watch. People in townships in South Africa will be being offered a food bag or a food parcel in exchange for having the jab. Why am I suggesting this? Because it's happening all over the world. It's happening in Australia, it's happening in the United States of America, it's happening in Europe, it's happening in South America, it's happening everywhere. People are being bribed to take the jab. And this latest one, which is the lefty state of Washington. This is not to be confused with Washington, D.C. on the East Coast, where the capital is, where the President of the United States lives in the White House. Washington is a completely different state. It's above Oregon, right on the East Coast, just south of Alaska. You can look it up on the map. There are two Washingtons in America. Washington, D.C., here on the East Coast, and Washington, which is this lefty hangout, which is on the West Coast. Very confusing, I get that. But two very, very different states. Interesting, though, that the major city in Washington is Seattle. And guess who has its headquarters in Seattle? Bill Gates, Microsoft. That's where they're headquartered. Now, Seattle last year, infamously, was the city that allowed a group of BLM, all these sort of guys, to literally cut off a piece of their own city and claim it as their own. You can't make this shit up, but it's true. It happened. And of course, the obvious happened. It was just complete chaos in the place, and eventually sanity resumed when they kicked these guys out. But the great state of Washington has now given permission to licensed retailers to hand out free marijuana to residents who get vaccination at in-store clinics. Now, I've talked about how people are being basically bribed to get the vaccine. I'm not going to go any further about why I think that's not such a great thing for people, but I would again refer you to lovinglifetv.com. Click on the videos at the top and go and check some of the things that have been said about, the V word. I'm going to say no more than that. Okay, while we have documented numerous other states offering up lottery-style cash prizes, and I did that with Ohio just a week ago, $1 million cash prize for someone who had the jab, who was selected in a lotto-type situation because they got vaccinated. Washington has been the first state to try and entice people to use the drug that still isn't legal on a federal level. Yeah, you heard me right. Marijuana is illegal in a few states of America, but not right across America. It's just these very lefty, hippie-style states like Washington and Oregon, California. You getting where I'm going. This is where the Antifa and the BLM boys hang out, okay? Anyway, let's continue. Sorry, guys, I've got a little bit of something I'm going to close down here. There we go. Now, the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board is calling the program Joints for Jabs, according to a Newsweek report. You can't make this shit up. The WA, or Washington Liquor and Cannabis Board, tweeted out the news on Monday night. It said, LCB allows joints for jabs, promotions to support vaccinations. And it says, in an effort to support COVID-19 vaccinations, the Liquor and Cannabis Board, or LCB, this is again in Washington, on the west coast of the United States of America, today announced that it would provide a temporary allowance to state licensed cannabis retailers to provide one joint to adult consumers who received a vaccination at an in-store vaccination clinic. It continues, participating cannabis retailers may only provide a pre-roll joint, and no other product may be provided as part of this allowance. Do they do this for the flu jab? Do they do this for any other medical drug or vaccine or response to an ailment you have? No. Think about it. Let's continue. Other rules by the Washington state include any cannabis joint provided to a customer must be associated with an active vaccine clinic event at the retail location. Only one complimentary joint may be provided to a customer who receives a first or second COVID-19 vaccine dose at the event. Receipt of the complimentary joint must occur during the same visit as receiving the vaccination and may not be delayed, postponed, or otherwise acquired at a later date or time. Retailers may only provide the complimentary joint to persons 21 years of age and older. Any vaccine clinic held inside a licensed retail location must comply with all age restriction requirements for the cannabis retailer. And finally, the cannabis joint must be provided by a retailer and not a producer or processor. And if you're a drinker and not a smoker, it doesn't look like Washington's LCB discriminates. The board also recently provided an allowance for beer, wine, and cocktails to be provided at no cost for those vaccinated by June the 30th. Now, call me a conspiracy theorist, but Joe Biden just a week or so ago said he wants 70% of Americans vaccinated by the 4th of July. That's Independence Day in America. Think about all these little treats that are being offered as bribes to people to be vaccinated. Quite extraordinary. Anyway, you join the dots. But remember, if you want the truth, you won't get it here on YouTube because it's censorship city. But if you go to our new platform, lovinglifetv.com, and I suggest you register there from the home page, you'll see the button, you will get the truth about what is actually going on. Please remember to subscribe to Loving Life on YouTube. Please remember to register on lovinglifetv.com, our own independent platform, free of censorship. Please remember to like this video. Please remember to share this video. And above all, please be safe.